Okay, good afternoon, everyone. If you guys can let me know in the chat box
Unmuted.
and you can see my screen, it says welcome to Creative Presentation, and then we can officially get started. Okay, great. So if at any time during our session you can't hear me any longer, can't see me any longer, that sort of thing, it's okay to log out and then log back in. But let us know in the chat box, because if a lot of people are saying that they can't hear me or whatever, then there might be an issue on my end rather than your end. So just kind of keep that in mind. The other thing too is we are I am currently in the lightning capital of the world right now, in Florida. So there's a storm going on outside. If you hear thunder, that's what it is. It always happens at this time. And Professor Irisari is also on our session right now. I'm Professor Jarvis. You're hearing the voice of Professor Jarvis, and Professor Irisari is here too. And she will also tell you that every single time we do these sessions, I will have a storm in the background. For some reason, it's just timed perfectly. But welcome to my students and to Professor Irisari's students as well. She and I do these weekly lectures together, so you'll kind of hear both of us. You'll hear both of us each week. So we like to do these together just so we can get a larger group of students, because between the two of us, we have over almost 100 students. So getting everyone together, it makes for a better networking environment, get a lot more kind of people in the conversation. The chat box is really more exciting and more interactive. So we like to put these together as well. Plus you guys get the benefit of having two of us on here, and one person is in the chat box kind of chipping away at any questions that are being asked, and then one of us is kind of delivering the information. We switch back and forth. So you'll hear from both of us today. And each week as well. So welcome to the session. As you guys know from the messages we've been sending out, these are being recorded. So if you miss one or you want to go back and reference anything, you can absolutely do that. The recordings usually go up within an hour or two after our live session ends. So usually around like 5 or 6 o'clock tonight, they'll be up and ready to go on YouTube. If you have any questions throughout the session, there's a chat box here on your GoToTraining control panel, and you can type in messages to everyone, or there's a little drop down where you can send it just to a specific person. You can send it just to me, just to Professor Irisari, whatever you'd like to do. So there's that option there as well. If for any reason you have any questions throughout this session, please ask them in the chat box. Even if it's off topic, that's okay. Ask them in the chat box. And then Professor Irisari and I always hang out for 5 to 10 minutes after the session has concluded to answer any questions there as well. So if you have something that you want to wait until the end to ask about, you absolutely can do that. Okay, so let's get into this. Welcome to Creative Presentation. Welcome to your first month here at Full Sail. Congratulations on joining us today. I know everyone is super excited to get started. I've gotten quite a few messages on the platform talking about that people are eager to get started, excited to come to the sessions, all of that. So I'm really happy that you guys are pumped and ready to go. These weekly sessions that we're going to be doing serve a couple of different purposes. One, it's a great way to interact with myself and Professor Irisari, ask questions, get some clarification on things, those sorts of things. So it's kind of we like to call it like virtual office hours, because we're here interacting with you. Another thing that we do is we cover all of the assignments for the week, and that's why we've asked you guys to hold off on submitting any of your assignments until after you have either watched it live or watched the recording of the session. And this goes for every week. So just wait until after you've watched the session on Tuesday or Wednesday to submit those assignments, because we do review them and we do go over them, and that helps most people to kind of see what we're looking for, know what our expectations are, and that sort of thing. We kind of go beyond the assignment instructions to give you more in depth of what we're looking for. And then we also cover some of the content as well, but because of the online, this is an online class, of course, and so most of that reviewing of the content falls onto you all to do the reading, to explore the different modules that are on the platform, and to just go through all of that and kind of be prepared with that content as you're doing as you're doing your assignments throughout the week as well. Okay, so let's get into this. I'm going to introduce myself, and then Professor Irisari is going to introduce herself, and then we're going to get into the main points of the session for today. So, like I mentioned before, my name is Professor Jarvis. I've been teaching here at Full Sail for July was my 3rd year anniversary, so I've been here for 3 years. I also teach at another school called Eastern Florida State here in Florida as well. And let me kind of advance here a little bit. Some of my background and my education as well. So my background is in marketing and in business. That's kind of where my background is, and in the mass communication side of everything. You'll hear from Professor Irisari in just a minute. She's kind of the yin and the yang. So I'm the mass comm side of this. She's the interpersonal communication side, or I guess now the PC term is human communication. The human communication side of it. So we kind of are the yin and yang when it comes to the communication professionals. So, but I do have a background in business and marketing, as you can see there. Master's degree in mass communication, all from the University of Central Florida. And I'm currently finishing up my doctorate in education from the University of Central Florida as well. Currently working through my dissertation and getting that finished up so I can walk across the stage with that goofy hat on my head and be excited to do that. So like I said, I've been teaching here at Full Sail for about 3 years. I also teach a course called Pop Culture and Media, which some of you, depending upon what program that you're in, some of you are going to reach probably around like month 8, between month 8 and month 12. It depends on what program that you're in. So I also occasionally teach that class as well. That class is really fun to teach. But I'm really interested and really involved in marketing and branding. That was that was thunder if you heard that. Marketing and branding, graphic design, website design, those sorts of things. So I'm really into kind of, I love advertisements and commercials and print advertising and kind of the psychology and the thought behind all of those sorts of things. So I'm not nerd who likes to watch the commercials and kind of analyze them and be like, oh, I wonder what demographic that, that ad is positioned towards, or I wonder why they chose that color scheme for that, or I wonder why, that slogan is geared towards this demographic, or whatever it may be. So I'm really nerdy about that sort of stuff. So I'm really into that. And just looking forward to working with everybody this month and getting you guys on a good foot starting your journey here at Full Sail. So I'm excited about it. So let me hand it over to Professor Irisari, and she will introduce herself. And before I move on, we have our contact information here. We do have our emails here as well. This is going to be different between the two of us, so I'll talk about it now. I prefer for my students to communicate with me via messages on the platform, so on FSO. And I know Professor Irisari prefers email, so just kind of one difference between us. I prefer messages on the platform. She's an email person, so she prefers it that way. But I'll hand it over to you, Professor Irisari, and let's hear your introduction.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. I'm so excited to get to meet everyone for a new semester, for a July semester here at Full Sail. And as you heard Professor Jarvis say, we are in 2 completely different locations in the state of Florida. I live a little bit closer to the physical Full Sail campus. So right here where I'm at, it's actually really sunny outside, which is kind of funny because we are not quite that far apart. But I am Professor Irisari, and I know that my students have read a little bit about me on the platform as well. As Professor Jarvis mentions, mentioned, I do prefer email, but she's won me over. I am completely okay with receiving any messages through the platform as well, and I've figured out how to have them forwarded directly to my email. So essentially, it's very similar as well. Either if you message me through the platform or message me through email, either way, it's going to go to my email, and I use that as a professional kind of a to-do list. So if you need me to get back to you or review something, it goes right there. Professor Jarvis, if you would advance the slide once for me, I'd appreciate it. Okay, perfect. So my background, as Professor Jarvis mentioned, is in interpersonal communication. So unlike Professor Jarvis, who is very interested in mass communication, my background is more in the interactions between individuals. I have my master's degree from UCF specifically in interpersonal communication, and my bachelor's degree was in interpersonal and organizational communication, and I also have a bachelor's in English as well. And Professor Jarvis, as Professor Jarvis mentioned, we are good friends in real life, and we met working at a certain university, at a different university, and now we both work here at Full Sail. And I would like to mention to my students, because I find this I think this is pretty interesting as well, that I have done a variety of research within the communication field, looking at everything from Facebook and social dominance to restaurant tipping and compliance gaining to mail order brides and how they communicate about themselves while looking for a husband. I've also studied classroom incivility behaviors and student responses. So as long as there is a message related component within the communication field, I can study it, which is really fun as a communication professor. And I will also tell you that communication is what is known as a parasitic discipline, which means that we like to borrow ideas and theories from other related fields. So there will probably be a little bit of overlap between this class and your other classes, which can be very helpful to our students. On a personal note, I have a house full of rescue pets that I am frequently running after, so hopefully you will not hear them on any of our recorded class sites, but a few of them might make an appearance in some of our class videos, so look out for that. So, all right, Professor Jarvis, I will hand it back to you so that we can continue on.
For some reason, that's the first time I've ever heard the phrase parasitic discipline, but I really like that now.
Wow, I can't see.
Yeah, I don't know if I've heard that before.
Yeah, we probably use that more on the interpersonal side.
Probably. I like that though. Now I'm gonna use that. Parasitic discipline, awesome.
I love it. It's a great description.
So now we're going to hand it over to some of you brave souls that would like to introduce yourselves. So there's a fun function in GoToMeeting where you can raise your hand. So if you'd like to speak with us live and introduce yourself, let us know what's your name, what program are you in, what future goals do you have, maybe professionally or personally, whatever it may be. And then something interesting about yourselves. We always invite people to, introduce themselves, get kind of the conversation going a little bit. So if you'd like to do that, you can absolutely raise your hand. I will unmute you and then we can hear you. If you feel more comfortable just typing something out and putting it into the chat box, that's absolutely cool too. But we'll kind of open that up for a couple of minutes and let's see if anyone would like to introduce themselves. Okay, let's see. Luis, I'm going to open it up to you first, and then we'll go down to Tessa. I muted you, so I think on your end you might have to do something. There you go. Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, my name is Luis Vega. My program is music production. My future goal would be to be an in-house music producer. And something interesting, I self-taught myself how to play piano.
Okay, great. Do you play any other instruments?
No, just the piano.
Okay. Cool, awesome. Thank you so much for your introduction. Okay, Tessa, I am coming to you. Let me unmute you. Okay, you should be good to go.
Hi everyone, I'm Tessa Sanagate. Nice to meet you all. I'm going into 3D arts and animation, and my future goal is to tell stories through animation and in the industry. And something interesting is that I have a rescue cat.
Okay, what's your cat's name?
His name's Silver.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Tessa, for your introduction.
We all have that in common.
I also have a house full of rescue cats as well.
That's why we get along so well.
Let's see. I'm gonna go back up. I'm gonna go to Daniel. Daniel Mainville. Let's see. Let me unmute you. Okay, Daniel should be good to go. You might have to unmute yourself on your end. There we go.
Hi guys, I'm Daniel Mainville. I'm in the mobile development program. I would like to have a better understanding of programming and development of mobile software. I already kind of have a background in repair of mobile devices, screens, and anything else that happens to go wrong with them. Something interesting is I am a retired Marine Corps vet, so I'm just kind of trying to get a better education for this stuff.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's see. Awesome. Dejan, I'm going to go to you next. Okay, you should be good.
Can you hear me? Yes, hi. My name is Dejan Robertson. I'm going for my recording arts bachelor's degree, and I have a lot of goals, but like one of them is to become a well-known music artist, and I want to use my platform to help people and inspire them. And something interesting about me is I played football. I'm interested in sports.
Okay, great. Did you play when you were in high school or?
Yes, ma'am. I played when I was in high school. And I started doing homeschool, so I couldn't actually play no more. So
Got it.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Nope.
Okay, Christopher, we're gonna come up to you, Christopher Wilson. Let's see.
All right, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Perfect. My name is Christopher Wilson. I am going back to school for digital cinematography. I guess my goals are to grow the business that I have now. I never ended up going to college. I ended up starting actually a multimedia company out here in Denver, and I've been running it ever since. So my goals are to expand on what I know and kind of help grow that business in the digital cinematography sector. And as far as, I guess, since we're all on the pet train, I have a French bulldog named Brutus.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. We had a student last month that was in Colorado, and I would always, like I was saying before, I always had thunderstorms during our class, and then he would always come in and be like, "Oh, we've got 3 feet of snow outside," or whatever it was at that time. So it was always like complete opposites for weather-wise.
Absolutely. And it's like it's wild out here. I mean, in the summer it's 100, and in the winter it gets nice and chilly.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks.
Okay, I'm gonna do 3 more real quick. I'm gonna go to Anna, Amara, and then Aaron after that, and then we'll keep it moving. So Amara, I'm gonna come to you real quick. Or excuse me, Anna, I apologize. Anna first. I'm going in reverse order. So Anna, you are unmuted right now. Just mute it from your end. There we go.
I hope everyone can hear me. My
Yep,
audio quality is pretty low. So hi, my name is Anna Rickman. I'm going into the recording arts program. My future goals are kind of all over the place. People keep asking me, and I don't really have anything specific. Music has been a really big part of my life for several years. So I wanted to just go into that and kind of create music and do things that have an impact on people and make them happy like it made me happy. As far as something interesting, I'm a self-taught artist and guitarist. I never had any lessons for either. and jumping on the pet train because I feel like it's fun. I have a bearded dragon named Koenig.
Okay, great. I had a student in one of my face-to-face classes, and she did one of her presentations on bearded dragons, and she brought them in. They were really cool to. I'm one of those people who I don't like to touch reptiles, but I thought they were really cool to like interact with. They were just an interesting.
They are interesting.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Anna. I'm gonna come up to Amara. Let's see, Amara, you are unmuted.
Hi, my name is Amara. My program is video game development, and a goal I have is working for a AAA title company, hopefully Ubisoft. And something interesting is I play the cello and the violin.
All right, great, awesome, thank you. And then last but not least, Aaron, I'm gonna come up to you. Let's see.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. So excited to be here. My name is Aaron Light. I'm in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, USA. And so a couple things interesting about me. I guess I'm a Navy veteran, did 6 years in the service, have been out in the workforce since 2006, since leaving the service. And my company, actually, we do sales and marketing coaching for IT firms. And so I'm really excited about my overall coursework, which is sportscasting, which is something I'm passionate about. You know, I can apply it to my current position, but also for my next career. And especially excited about this course. Literally in progress of making presentations right now. So even just going through some of the initial reading, I'm really excited about the application this course itself is going to have, just, you know, an immediate impact. So very cool. I appreciate being able to be here.
Awesome, thanks, Aaron. Okay, so I appreciate everyone who came and wanted to introduce themselves live. We really appreciate it. And I was just thinking about in the chat box how Lewis was saying something earlier, kind of how he misspoke or whatever, and talking about nerves and that sort of thing. And Professor Irisari was talking about, you know, she and I, we teach face-to-face and online. So she and I, we teach, you know, 5 sections, 6 sections a semester face-to-face, and then we also teach online as well. And I actually had a student in one of my face-to-face classes very recently. His name is Xavier, and he came up to me and he was like, how do I, you know, I get so nervous standing up in front of people. You make it look so natural. How do you do it? Blah, blah, blah. Talk to me about it. And I was just like, I kind of didn't know what to say to him, because I was like, well, you know what? I hide my nerves really well, because I'm a naturally introverted person, and I have to step outside of my comfort zone to both do this online lecturing, but I also have to step out of my comfort zone to teach face-to-face classes as well, because that's not really, you know, my strength isn't getting up in front of people and speaking to them. That's something that I have to, like I said, move outside my comfort zone to do. And this stuff doesn't really come natural to anyone. I know there's some people who are really great at it, but I feel like as human beings, we are kind of hardwired to be self-conscious and be kind of this nerves and our anxiety and stuff like that. So never feel like you're out of the ordinary or you are different from other people if you feel that nerves and the butterflies in your stomach and all that stuff. I get that every single time I step in front of one of my classes to teach. I always get little butterflies in my stomach and stuff like that, no matter what. I mean, I've been doing this for 6, going on 7 years now, and I still get that. So, you know, it still happens, even for people who do it professionally. So don't worry about nerves or misspeaking or any of that stuff. It happens. Okay, so I'm going to go into what I like to call, I'm doing air quotes right now because I gesture while I'm sitting here essentially by myself, but I act like you guys are all in front of me. So I'm air quoting housekeeping stuff, what I like to call housekeeping. So just some like general navigational stuff, things to think about and things to know to be successful on the online platform, also on the Full Sail platform as well, because these lessons and these tips are going to bleed into your other classes as well. The parasiticness of it, I guess, that's Professor Irisari was talking about. So these things are going to help you be successful in your other classes as well. So thinking about expectations, just a couple of things that Professor Irisari and I like to cover to be successful. One main thing, this is a communication course, of course, but communication is key. communicating with us if you ever have any questions, have any problems with technology, all those sorts of things, making sure that you are communicating with us as soon as possible so we can help you work out any kind of bugs that are happening with anything. The worst thing that you can do is you run into an issue and then you like wait a week and contact us and be like, oh yeah, last week my internet got shut down and I couldn't do any of my work, or whatever, whatever the issue might be. Communicating with us as soon as possible is going to be key in order for us to be able to help you out. This class is a month, so we're taking, in a traditional university, 16 weeks of content and condensing that down to a month. So for example, missing a week in this class or, that sort of thing is like missing 4 weeks in a traditional classroom. So being on top of everything, time management, all of those skills, you're gonna learn that real fast in this class. And there is a little bit of a learning curve here. I think that the number one feedback that I get from students once they finish this course is they say, I wish I would have budgeted my time better. I wish I would have taken this, not taken it more seriously, but taken the accelerated pace more seriously. Like they weren't expecting us to go as fast as we were going to go. So you'll hear that a lot. This is an accelerated pace. It really is. We go through things very quickly. Due dates come up very quickly. All of those things happen very quickly. So just keep that in mind as you're budgeting your time for the month and for the week and all of that fun stuff. So, and I know everyone's got lives outside of this classroom. I like to talk about, I take it like a holistic approach to students, and knowing that, and you guys may have come in contact with this, but some instructors who think that you only exist within the classroom and that's the only class that you're taking and that sort of thing. But I know you guys have kids. We've all got pets, apparently. Everyone's got rescue animals. You've got kids, pets, jobs, all of that fun stuff, other obligations. So knowing that this is gonna, you have to budget this into your time to be successful. Next is college level writing standards. So a couple of different things. One, all of the assignments that you're going to be doing in this class are going to involve either a Word document, a PowerPoint document, something having to do with creating something in a digital format. So just know that. We've had students in the past who will handwrite things and either scan it or take a picture of it and try to submit that. That's not something that we accept. So making sure that everything, if it's a written document, making sure that you're typing that up in either a Google Doc or a Word document and submitting it that way. Everything needs to be typed essentially. But on top of that, you want to make sure that you're maintaining college level writing standards as well. And that's all that fun stuff we learned in elementary school with grammar, spelling, punctuation, capitalization, sentence structure, paragraph structure, all of that stuff. So no matter whether you're submitting an assignment, communicating with your fellow students on the discussion boards, anytime you're communicating with myself, your peers, or anyone else within the university, you want to make sure that you're maintaining those college level writing standards. That's super important to set that standard early so that you are you're able to have that professional tone. We'll talk about professionalism in a second, but for that professional tone with everyone that you communicate with. It's also part of the grade. You'll see it on the grading rubric. You'll see it in, depending upon what it is, it's usually under, I think, mechanics on the grading rubrics. And you'll see that there too, that spelling, punctuation, all of those things. So just maintaining that, that's really important. Next is professionalism. I mentioned this just a second ago, but you also have it, you guys have, I'm sure you've seen it through your student liaison has probably talked to you about it. You've seen it through the orientation, your GPS score. So that goes into professionalism. So just maintaining a professional tone with everyone. You're going to be communicating with either myself or Professor Irisari back and forth. You're going to be communicating with your classmates through the discussion boards and in our chat box here. All of that you want to make sure that you're maintaining that professional tone, setting the tone for yourself, and just carrying yourself as you would if we were coworkers or that sort of thing. So just keeping that in mind as you are having different communications with people throughout the course. So now I'm going to go over some resources. And I'm going to do some stuff on the platform in just a few minutes, but I know that there's a separate training for that, so I'm not going to go too much in depth about it, but I'll show you kind of some different things that we're going to be that we're reviewing. So one of the resources is lynda.com. If you're not familiar with it, lynda.com is like if you took YouTube and only had professional technical tutorials on there. That's essentially what Lynda is. So if you want to learn how to use PowerPoint, you want to learn how to use Photoshop, you want to learn how to edit photography, whatever it may be, there's tons and tons of tutorials on there. So one thing that the accelerated pace kind of keeps us from doing is Professor Irisari and I are not going to be teaching you how to use PowerPoint. We're not going to be teaching you how to use Adobe Spark. We just don't have the time to do that because of how everything is condensed into this course. So that's going to be on your shoulders to kind of learn how to do that if you don't know how to do it already. So for example, the first presentation or the first assignment that you're going to have in this course is your 1.4 assignment. You're either going to use PowerPoint to complete it or you're going to do some sort of Word document to complete it. So if you're not familiar with how to do those things, you might want to check out lynda.com and figure out how to navigate those softwares, okay? Just kind of and you all have free access to this using your Full Sail credentials. So it's not something you have to pay for, and it's something you'll utilize throughout all of your courses as well, okay? Next is Resonate and Slidology. And so these are our textbooks. And if you have flipped through the textbooks, well, I say flipped, but they're digital, so you kind of get what I'm saying. If you've clicked through or swiped through, that's how I should change it, right? If you have gone through the textbooks already, hopefully you've gotten a positive vibe from them, because I really like the textbooks because they're so much different from any other textbooks that you've probably ever seen. These textbooks were not written for, they weren't written for a school, they weren't written for a university, they essentially weren't written for students, they were written for business professionals. So they're not like your traditional textbooks in the best way possible. Resonate deals with the storytelling side of this course, so building out a presentation, building out the story, kind of planning that presentation, and then Slidology comes in and talks about the visual side of the presentation, so how you visually present yourself, thinking about building out a visual aid, building out your presentation in that way. So there's two separate textbooks, but they complement each other very, very well. And I know we've had some questions about how to get to the textbooks, how to navigate that. So I'm going to show you guys that really quickly just to kind of clear up any of that. So for those of you that are having difficulty with it, you can see how that is going to work. So let me share my screen with you really quick. Let's see. Let me get into Full Sail. And this is the teacher view. Your view might look slightly different, but it's going to look very similar. So let me go to preview. So your textbooks are going to be found in the week 1 modules, and you can scroll down here to the 1.2 learning activity. And then if you scroll down here, sorry. This link right here, I'm not going to go to it because it's going to kick me out of here, but this link right here will take you to the place where you can log in and view Safari Books. So Safari Books is the app that all of these textbooks can be found. You're going to continuously use this with all of your courses here at Full Sail, because if I'm not mistaken, all of your textbooks that you use at Full Sail will be digital, and they'll be, I don't think you're never charged additional charge for the textbooks either. So everything's included, and that's where this exists here. You have, you can get it, there's a mobile app for it as well for those of you that are using mobile devices for the course, and then you have the regular version that you can get through your browser as well. So that's where you would that's where you would log in to get here. If you have any problems logging in or accessing the books, reach out to FSO support, and they should be able to troubleshoot any of that information with you. Unfortunately, Professor Irisari and we are not experts on every single device and every single browser, because I bet if there's a million different combinations of how you can, how you could get access to that. You could be using an Android on Firefox. You could be using an Apple phone or an iPhone on Safari, or whatever it may be. There's a lot of different options there. So anyway. That's how you will access your textbooks. So let me keep it moving a little bit. So just kind of we're going to be talking about storytelling quite a bit in this course, because essentially, just kind of an overview, the goal for this class, the final project in this class, is you are going to be pitching yourself to a future employer, essentially. So let's say, for example, you're a game design student and you want to work for Bethesda Studios developing games in the future. That's what your goal is in the future. So what we're going to be preparing you to do is to create a video where you are going to be presenting yourself and pitching yourself to Bethesda, to essentially say, hey Bethesda, I want to be a game designer at your company, here's why you should hire me. That's kind of the final project in a nutshell. Or if you own your own business, or if you want to be working independently or working as a contract person within your industry, there's different options there too, but that's kind of in a nutshell what the presentation is. So we like to think about presenting information as storytelling, right? So that's the way we like to talk about, and that's the way that the author of the textbooks, Nancy Duarte, that's the way she likes to talk about it as well. So you'll see a lot in the textbooks about, talking about storytelling, talking about the hero's journey, talking about building out the ebb and flow of a story, that sort of thing. So you'll see that throughout the course and throughout our time together as well. And let me just get to the week 1 assignments here really quickly. I'm going to review what the week looks like, and then I'm going to hand it over to Professor Irisari, and she's going to go over the actual assignments. She's going to navigate all of that with you. So let me just show you what we've got for this week. And we do a week breakdown every single time that we do this too. So week 1, what does it look like? So your 1.2 is your learning activity. I just went into that assignment and showed you how to navigate and get to Safari Books. But you'll also see here, let me just share my screen really quickly again. Okay, but you'll also see on here, it outlines what chapters you need to read as well. So you have chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7. And then once you have read those chapters, you can hit this little button on the bottom, mark as complete, and that will complete that assignment. Next is your presentation history, so that's the discussion boards. So Professor Irisari is going to go over that momentarily, but you'll see that here under presentation history, a discussion, so that's the 1.3 assignment, and she'll go over that in more detail as well. And then, oops, sorry about that. And then, here we go. And then your 1.4 assignment is the professional presentation analysis, what we kind of call the TED Talk assignment as well. We kind of use those two names interchangeably, but that's your 1.4 assignment, which you will find down here, and the 1.4 as well. So Professor Irisari is going to go over your discussion board, and then she's going to go over the TED Talk assignment. So she's going to go over both of those, and while she's going through those, I'm going to show you some of the instructions and that sort of thing on my end, since I'm controlling the PowerPoint presentation. So she'll kind of be explaining that, and I'll show you some navigational stuff while she's doing that as well. So let me advance here a little bit more. I'm going to hand it over to you, Professor Irisari, and let's hear about our discussion board for this week.
Okay, everyone. So this week, you are already attending our live lecture, so you'll be able to mark that one as complete and then definitely get started with the reading. I know many of you have worked on that already. And then you need to jump right into the discussion board, and I know some of our students have already started posting those. For this discussion board, you are going to make your initial post, the bigger portion of the post, by Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because again, we are both of your professors, and then also the University Full Sail are located in Eastern Standard Time Zone. So Wednesday by 11:59 p.m. adjust your due dates accordingly if you are not in Eastern Standard Time. And then you will be making your replies by Sunday to the discussion board. And this discussion board is an opportunity for you to reflect back on, yeah, you can advance this slide, thank you, on your experiences with presentations in the past. What were those experiences like? Did you have good experiences? Did you have bad experiences? Do you feel anxiety standing in front of a room, giving a speech or a presentation? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? And reflect on that. So Professor Jarvis is going to show you the actual directions page on the class site that you can take a look there, and you can see that you only have until Wednesday to do this initial post, and then after that you have until Sunday to do your responses. So go ahead and get this out of the way. Your initial post should be at least 3 college level paragraphs long, reflecting on your experiences. It lists a variety of additional questions there that you can talk about, listed as Professor Jarvis is highlighting for you on the screen. So there they are. Thank you. And so answer all of those questions, reflect back, and that should be at least 3 college level paragraphs long. We are looking for a substantial initial post to the discussion board. Then you will reply to at least 2 of your classmates in at least 1 college level paragraph each response, or I'm sorry, 3 of your classmates that you will be responding to for this post. Professor Jarvis and I like to joke. There's a little meme that goes around the internet that has to do with students and discussion boards, and it says, and somebody posts 1 + 1 = 2, and someone replies, I like how you added 1 + 1 together, and that equals 2. I can see your thought process clearly, and just elaborate on this very short post in the response. But really, we are looking to move beyond that. In an online class, the discussion boards are really a great opportunity for you to get to know your classmates and to share information and helpful tips and hints, and later on in the semester to share feedback as well. So make sure that you are really taking the time to reflect on what your classmates are writing and where you might have similarities or differences. So Professor Jarvis is showing you a little bit of her discussion board already. So you can see that that Christopher has already posted to the discussion board, which we appreciate. And his post does meet the length requirement that we are going for. And then we would go through when we read it, and we would make sure that he's answering all of the questions and reflecting back on his experiences. And Professor Jarvis is saying in the chat box that great post, Christopher. So that's a great example for all of you. So let's go ahead and move on to the big assignment that you have due this week, which would be, we'll go back there for a moment, the 1.4 professional presentation analysis assignment, which we actually have nicknamed this the TED Talk assignment. So it is usually more commonly referred to as the TED Talk assignment. Now this assignment is really fun because it gives you the opportunity to choose 3 TED Talks from the TED.com website that you saw linked above, and the documents attached to that page show you the instructions for this assignment. So you can choose any 3 TED Talks on any 3 topics. They do need to be official TED Talks, and there are many on the website for you to choose from. And then you will reflect on Step 1, there are several different steps that you'll be following. You are going to reflect and answer questions and analyze each of the 3 TED Talks. So you're writing 3 separate analyses of these TED Talks. So tell us, was it powerful or moving? What did you like about it? What could they improve about it? What made it relatable? What made you care about their topic? And what kind of emotions did you experience while watching the speaker speak? Definitely go through all the questions, and in each of 3 separate analyses, answer all of these questions and write about each of those TED Talks. It's a great chance to start watching some example speeches and presentations, and thinking about what you would like to include in your own presentations for the course. The next thing that you'll be doing for this assignment is you will have to choose at least one visual to go along with each of the 3 TED Talks. That's very important because this class is all about audio visual presentations moving forward. So you have your analyses, then you have your 3 separate visuals that go along with it, and then you will conclude by creating one list of 10 qualities, techniques, or presentation skills from all 3 TED Talks that the speakers are using that you find to be really effective. And then you're going to tell us which speakers used it, how they used it, and why it was effective. So explain those qualities. So remember, it's 3 separate analyses and then one list of 10 qualities for all 3, but 3 separate analyses, 3 separate visuals to go along with those analyses, and then one list of 10 qualities for all 3. And Professor Jarvis, do you have an example handy that we can show them of the TED Talk assignment? There we go, perfect. So many students choose to complete this assignment in either PowerPoint or Keynote, or Adobe Spark is amazing. It's an amazing free program that you are welcome to use. And create them to look really amazing. As you can see, this student had an introduction slide, and then this would be their first TED Talk that they're reflecting on. You can see the analyses there and the visual. Okay, and then moving on, this is, oh, there we go, the second and third analyses, the second and third TED Talks. And then after that, they have included their 10 qualities of effective presentation. So you can see there's the first quality, and then we'll click through and you can see that there are the additional qualities where they write about which of the speakers used these, how it impacted their audience, how it was effective, and those are good qualities to start reflecting on early in the semester. And you are able to use your own images, or if not, you can use open source images through the course. You can search Google for open source images, or you should cite your images in a small citation near the images to tell us where you received those images from as well. All right, so Professor Jarvis, did you have anything that you wanted to add to those directions for the TED Talk assignment?
The other thing I want to add in is we also have a tutorial to do this as well. It's just like, I think it's like 5 to 7 minutes. It's a tutorial to kind of walk you through how to do this as well. One thing, and this is this is going to fall on deaf ears here because you guys are already here, but I think the biggest mistake that students make when it comes to this presentation analysis assignment is that they don't look at the resources that we've given them. So, and this is something I wanted to mention before too. With all of the assignments that you're going to see in this class, we are going to provide you with, some of them we have tutorials for, but we go over them very much in depth within our lectures, but we always show you guys examples of what we're looking for, okay? So for example, after this session is over, when we let you know, hey, the recording is live, we also send out some extra resources. So we'll send you out some additional examples, and we also have that tutorial as well. So take advantage of that. So for example, some students will submit an assignment and they leave off the list of 10 qualities at the end, or they don't have their visual elements in there and there's no images whatsoever. And those are just little things that, you know, if they watched the tutorial or they watched our live session or they looked at the examples, they would have known that those needed to be in there. So just kind of take that into account to take advantage of all of the resources that we provide for you.
Aaron has typed a question into the chat box, and I think this is a good one, so I'm going to go ahead and address this out loud. You'll notice that we often read your questions out loud because anyone watching the recording back later can't see the chat box. So Aaron is asking if he can include the 3 different analyses in the same file and the list of 10 qualities, or if we want them as separate files. So I will tell you that we want all of your assignments turned in as a single file, if at all possible. And it should work out really well for all of you. As you can see, the example that we showed you is just one document, as opposed to multiple different documents that we then have to download through the platform. So definitely submit this assignment as only one file.
Yes, absolutely. Please do not submit like 4 separate files. And the other thing I want to talk about too is, let me, where did I, yes, right here. So if you're sitting at home and you're like, well, I don't have access to PowerPoint, or I don't have access to Word, or whatever it may be, you do through your Full Sail email. You have access to Office 365, which is like the app version of, I think you have access to PowerPoint, Excel, Word, and OneNote. I think those are the 4 that you have access to. And so you can find those here to download them onto your mobile device or onto your computer. So you have access to that there. You have access to that. Or if you're a Google Docs person and you're familiar with that, you can use that as well. That's not a problem. Okay, so let me come back over here. Professor Erie, sorry, did you have anything else to add about the assignments for this week?
I just want to add that one of the really cool things about Full Sail that's really cutting edge about the course is that we do allow you to submit the assignments using the technology that you have. And like Professor Jarvis said, you can choose any of the programs that you would like, but everybody has their own technology, their own computers, their own combination of web browsers and programs and so forth. So when you are submitting the assignments, we leave it pretty open to you to use the programs you're comfortable with, but it's definitely a great time to start trying some new programs. We definitely like to plug Adobe Spark because it's a free program that has some great simple functions to make some really neat presentations. So Adobe Spark does work great for this project, and it will also work really well for some of the assignments that you'll be submitting later on in the semester with us.
Yes, absolutely. And also just one other thing to note, we like to tell you guys early on that, and we've kind of both alluded to it a little bit, but starting next week, you're going to be doing a video presentation that has both visuals and audio. So make sure that between now and, within the next week, that you have access to something that can record your voice and add it to a presentation. So whether that is the microphone on your laptop or recording voice notes on your cell phone, or you have an external mic, or whatever it may be, making sure that you have access to that. Because like I said, starting with next week, your discussion board is going to involve an audio narration and adding audio into video. So, well, adding audio with visual, I guess video already, that includes audio, but you're going to include audio in some way, shape, or form. So sometimes we get students who we get to the middle of next week and they're like, oh crap, I don't have a microphone, or whatever it may be. Well, if you have a cell phone, you should be good to go. But just keep that in mind. So if you don't have access to any of that, you can, get on Amazon Prime and buy a $5 or $10 external mic that you'll utilize. Just kind of a heads up on that one if you don't have access to it. But right now we're nearing the end of the session. So what we're going to do is we're going to open it up for any questions that you guys might have. You can ask them in the chat box, type them out into the chat box, or if you prefer, you can raise your hand. And just like we did with the introductions, you can raise your hand and I will unmute you, and then we can chit chat that way as well if you feel more comfortable just speaking your question into existence. So for those of you that don't have any questions, are good to go, feel free to log out and carry on with your lives. For those of you that want to hang out for some questions and answers, we are happy to do that as well. So let us know. We are here to help. And thank you guys for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Thanks, Lewis. Have a great day. And this could be any questions about navigation, questions about Full Sail, questions about the assignments, whatever it may be. We will do our best. We'll do our best to help you guys out. Okay, we've got a hand raised. Let me see. Okay, Aaron, let me unmute you really quick. Okay, you should be good to go.
Hi, so you had mentioned the Adobe Spark as one that you would recommend, and I think you had said that that was free. Is that free just for students, or if we just go look up the software, it's a free software?
It's free for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, it's free for everyone. And there, while you're here, let's go. Adobe Spark is really great for making video presentations, but they also have a way to do they call them web pages, but you can let me see, am I not logged in? You can use those web pages to create an assignment as well. Let me log in really quickly. And we've had students we've had students utilize this for their presentations, or for this assignment too. I'm not sure why this isn't working. Oh, there we go. And so you have the option once I get in here. I have a lot of things hanging out over here, a lot of different things that I've created. But you can create something, and I'll just show you my syllabus really quickly for my other courses, and you can kind of see what this looks like. But you can build out this is what's called a web page. You can build out a presentation that kind of looks like this as you're kind of scrolling through. You can add in images, you can add in text, and this is one way that you can create your assignment if you would like. So this is what they call a web page. And then there's also a video component as well where you can create a presentation.
Wonderful. And I would imagine then too, the pictures they make available are all open source anyway. So you've kind of already cleared that if you're using their imagery.
Yes, absolutely. And there's another resource that I like to use. It's kind of my secret weapon when it comes to building stuff out. It's pexels.com. This is all free stuff as well. And it's all, let's see, I'll just type in cell phone. Really high quality, great visuals that you can use as well. And all of this stuff is free to download. And it's all copyright free and all that fun stuff too. So pexels.com is a great resource to use as well.
Wonderful. Yeah, the Spark looks a lot more advanced over PowerPoint as far as being able to overlay text and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I use it for all of my, like I just showed you my syllabus for my face-to-face classes and my other university I teach at. I'm completely paper free, so I use that to build out my syllabus, and my students really enjoy that.
Wonderful. And last question while I've got you. You mentioned next week the video presentation with the video and audio.
Yes.
Obviously have the device for that, have the microphone, but you're going to teach us obviously how to add the audio as well to the presentation, correct?
That is something that we're not going to be doing, and that's what I was talking about before when it came to the technical aspect of it. But we'll do a short tutorial on building a presentation in Adobe Spark, and I will review where to add in the audio. So
okay,
it's
perfect.
it's super with Adobe Spark. It's very user friendly. But if you're going to be using something else like PowerPoint, there's a lot of, and through Linda as well, how to add audio into a PowerPoint presentation. There's a lot of tutorials on that.
Perfect. I'll get versed up on Spark then. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Aaron. Let's see.
Yeah, and it is much easier to add audio to an Adobe Spark presentation than it is to add it to a PowerPoint presentation. PowerPoint, unfortunately, while it does have the ability for anyone to add audio to a presentation, it's a lot trickier than some of the other programs that have come after that just seem to have figured out how to make it so much easier on users.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. And also don't freak out about it. People freak out because they're like, oh no, adding audio, video editing, but like they get kind of overwhelmed by it. Don't freak out about it. It's going to be fine. Thousands of students have done it before you and they have survived it. So I promise you guys will survive it as well. And it's a great way to kind of learn those skills, even if they're rough. Learn those skills now because you will utilize them later on for your other courses. I've taught other courses at Full Sail that you have to create an audio-visual presentation. So this is something that you'll do in the future too. Okay, any questions that you guys might have? Let's see what's happening in the chat box. Oh, something that we want to note as well. So I know that most of you have heard about the FSO training. I think it's a 2 hour, 1 hour, 2 hour training where they're going to go through how to navigate the platform, how to do all of that stuff on the platform. Currently, all of the sessions are full right now. They maxed out at 200. I think, and there's 4 of them happening. So they've maxed out right now. So if you weren't able to register for one of those sessions, just know, just like our session here, the recording is going to be available later on as well. So don't freak out if you weren't able to get into one of those. Those will be available as a recording later on too. So you'll have access to that. Okay, anyone else have questions? You can put them in the chat box, raise your hand. Whatever you'd like to do. Thanks, Aaron, no problem. Leave it open for another couple of minutes. I know some people just sit on here and they're like, what are other people going to ask? There's no, I know people say this, there's no such thing as a stupid question, because if you have the question, it's most likely that other people have the question as well. Thanks, Joshua. I'm glad that we were able to be informative today, help you guys out.
And thank you to everyone who has attended live. It's always helpful for everyone who can't attend live to be able to listen to your questions and hear us answer them, and just to get a feel for the interaction that we have during the live recordings.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Thank you to everyone in the chat box who's appreciating the lecture and the information that we've given. We are here. That's what we're here for. We are here to help you navigate. Ethan is saying that he hopes he doesn't mess anything up. Well, you know, we are imperfect beings, unfortunately. That might happen, but hopefully it'll be something that we can help you out with if it does happen. Like I mentioned before, there's a learning curve to figuring out online learning, figuring out the Full Sail, everything that's happening at Full Sail, all that sort of thing. So, you know, just I think my piece of advice is take advantage of all the resources that are available to you. Take advantage of all of it. That is going to be the most helpful thing to anyone in the course, or any of the classes that you take as well. It's going to be the main thing.
I will also add that in contrast with a traditional speech class where you would get up in front of the room and you would give your speech, here we're creating these audio-visual presentations, so you can re-record as many times as you need to if something is happens in the background, or if you get distracted and you just think that you can do better on a next take. Definitely leave yourself time to revise and make improvements, and don't wait till the last minute, because that's usually when students are more likely to run out of time. So start early, give yourself time to get everything completed the way you would like it before you submit.
Yes, absolutely. Don't go on there 11:57 p.m. and be submitting your assignments. Because that's when things go wrong. Your internet goes down, the server's slow, like you get error messages, whatever it may be. So give yourself enough of a cushion to submit your assignments on time.
Exactly, and that goes along with the holistic approach to students that Professor Jarvis was talking about, because sometimes you don't realize just how much time these assignments are going to take. So if you make sure to schedule yourself some time early-ish in the week to work on them, then you can make sure that you have enough.
Okay, well, I think we're gonna, oh, let's see. Great, thank you, Dejan. We appreciate it. We're gonna leave it there. So if you have any questions after we close down this session, you can either speak to your prospective instructor, whether it's myself or Professor Irisari, send us a message and we can get back to you and answer your questions. But we look forward to seeing you guys in the discussion boards and interacting with you guys via messages and seeing your assignments for this week. We really look forward to it. So just making sure that you're double checking your due dates, making sure that you are interacting with doing your initial post to the discussion board by tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. and then getting those peer replies in by the end of the week, and just getting started on everything. So let us know if you have any questions, and we'll see you guys next week.